Hi, welcome to my video on the application of proportions. Applications of proportions. A proportion has two equivalent ratios. Each ratio is a rate. First, we let the unknown be represented by a letter. Sometimes you can call it X every time. Sometimes you can call it T for time. Sometimes you can call it W for weight, or you can call it D for distance, but most of the times I'm going to let it be X. Second, you write the two equivalent ratios to set up a proportion. And third, you solve the proportion. Let me do some examples and then you can work out some extra problems. Here we go. A person paid $12 for 4 meters of rope. How much would a person pay for 6 meters of rope? So how much would be, you could say X. So if you want, you may put X first. That's the unknown. So if you're setting up a ratio, how much is the cost over the number of meters? So I could say it could be the cost over the meters. So is X over 6. How much will 6 meters cost? That means if I have the cost on the top of this ratio, I have to put the cost on the top of the other ratio. So 12 to 4. So 12 is the cost, 4 is the number of meters. So I notice I have cost on the top, the number of meters on the bottom. Cross multiply, and I get 4 times X equals 6 times 12. I could use a multiplication or a dot, your choice. So because I cross multiplied, A times D equals B times C, cross multiply. Then when I get that done, I divide both sides by 4. The 4's cancel out and I get X equals. Now I can use a calculator, but this one I can divide 4 into 12 goes 3 and I get an 18. And what's 18? 18 is the cost, so the answer is $18. B. Water is flowing into a tank at a rate of 100 liters every 4 hours. At this rate, how long will it take for the tank to have 150 liters, assuming the tank is empty? So how long will it take? Well, that's X, or you can call it T, whatever you wish. Since I'm calling it X, let's put X on the top left-hand corner, and that means the 150 is going on the bottom. So what you have is how long, so that's the time over the number of liters. So it's time over liters. So that means the other ratio is time, so it's 4 over 100, because it's time 4 hours over 100 liters. So now I have two ratios set up equal to each other. So let's solve this proportion. So we have 100 times X equals 150 times 4. We have it cross multiplied. So now we divide by 100. Done. The hundreds cancel out. That gives me X. Again, notice I left this as 150 times 4. I could use a calculator and go 150 times 4 and then divide it by 100. Whatever you wish is your choice. But if you want to divide by, scratch the zeros, because you're dividing by 10. 5 into 15 goes 3, 5 into 10 goes 2, 2 into 2 goes once, 2 into 2 goes 4, so you get 6. So it says how long? So the answer is 6 hours. Again, you could pick up your calculator and turn it on. You could go 150 times 4. And if you want to press your equal sign, and then you can turn around and divide that by 100. And you get your 6. So you can do your cancellation like I'm doing, or you can use your calculator, or do both to check your cancellation. Because when you're dividing here, you got a top numerator and denominator, you can cancel. C. If a car travels 160 kilometers on 40 liters of gas, how far can the car travel on 60 liters of gas? Again, how far is your x. That's your unknown. So if you put your unknown on the top there, we're going to set up two proportions. That means if that's your distance and divided by your liters, that's your ratio. So you got an x divided by 60. So that means the other ratio, the x is distance. So your distance is 600, got to go on top. And your liters got to go on the bottom, so it's 40. That's how I do it. If you put the x, doing this all the time in the top left, and set up your ratios correctly, it can't go wrong. When I say can't, it's less trouble. 40 times x and 60 times 600. Divide by 40, because you got the equation. We've done that before. Cancel, you get the ones. And now you can cancel here, or you can use your calculator. I'll do both. So scratch the zeros, done, because I'm dividing by 10. Let's see. I can divide by 4 and once. 4 into 60 goes 15. And 15 times 60 is 900. If you find that a little bit awkward, then pick up your calculator and go. Let's clear it. I have 60 times 600, which was initially. And now I divide by 40. And I get a 900. So notice, you can work your calculator. And you got 900, and what's x? The distance. So the answer is 900 kilometers. D, find the cost of 18 tickets to a concert if 10 tickets cost $250. Find the cost. So the cost is x. So I got cost over the number of tickets. So x is the cost over 18 tickets. That's the ratio. So I got cost, which is $250, over 10. So notice I have $250, which is the cost, over the number of tickets. X is the cost over the number of tickets. So I set up my ratio, cost over the number of tickets. Cross multiply. 10 times x equals 18 times 250. Divide by 10. They cancel. They're ones. 1 times x is x. And if you want to, now you can 10 into the 10 cancels once. The 10 cancels here. So 18 times 25 was 18 times 25. And if you multiply in your head or multiply in, but let's use our calculator. So we have 18 times 250 divided by 10. So 18 times 250 and divided by 10. And we get 450. And what is 450? 450 is the cost, so it's cost $450 to buy those 18 tickets. E, a plane flew 3,000 kilometers in 6 hours. At this speed, how long would it take her to fly 4,000 kilometers? So how long? Again, that's x. You could call it t for time. And let's see. So we have the x is time, and it's over the distance. So x is how long? Distance is 4,000. That's the first ratio. And the second one, x is x is time, so that's 6 over 3,000. So notice we have time over distance. So the two ratios is 6 hours over 3,000, x over 4,000. X is the unknown. Cross multiply. 3,000 times x equals 4,000 times 6. Cross multiply. X times that, 4,000 times 6. And we divide by 3,000. Cancel out. 1, 1. 3,000 divided by 3,000 is 1. Notice 1 times x is x. And we can cancel it. We can divide each one by 1,000. We can cancel the zeros. And we can say 3 into 3 goes 1, 3 into 6 goes 2. So we get 8. So how long? The answer would be 8 hours. If you'd like to, I have 4,000 times 6 divided by 3,000. So 4,000, oops, times 6 divided by 3,000. And I get 8. Notice, multiply and then divide. Use your calculator. If you do, the calculator is more dependable. Sometimes you be careful with your cancellations, but you should do both, just for practice. Just for practice. Now, what you can do is pause your video, work this page out to see if you're going to be okay. Here I go. You should do all these first and check. Here I go. A truck is traveling 600 kilometers in 5 hours. At this speed, how far would the truck and a car? Now that's, let's put the car here. It's my mistake. Sometimes when you read your problem, you don't see those little tiny changes you make sometimes. So that's a car. The car is traveling, right? Not a car and a truck. Here we go. How far? How far is x? So that's your distance, and you got your distance and your time. So your distance is x over a number of hours. That's one ratio. The distance here is 600 over your number of hours. So I get distance over time for both ratios. Cross multiply. 5 times x equals 3 times 600. Divide by 5. Cancel. And I get x equals. Now I can divide 5 into 600 once. So 5 into 6 goes 1, 2, 0. When I multiply, I get 360. So I get 3 times 600 divided by 5. Just check your calculator. 3 times 600 divided, I could divide it by 5. What am I doing? 3 times 600 divided by 5. I hit the wrong button. 3 times 600 division 5. And I get 360. Right. So it's 360. And it's how far? So it's kilometers. So it's either kilometers or time you're looking for. Number 2. 6 cans of juice cost $4.80. Find the cost of 9 cans. Find the cost. So the cost is X. So you have cost and the number of cans. So number is N if you want. So the cost is X over the number of cans is 9. That's the first ratio. Second one, the cost is $4.80. $4.80 over 6 cans. Cross multiply. 6 times X equals 9 times. This is why you got to be careful now with the dot for multiplication, because you got a decimal in there. So just to make sure, I put a multiplication here so you won't get confused with that decimal. Divide by 6, cancels, 1, 1, x equals. And I can divide this out, cancel this out if I want, or I can use my calculator. Let's try the calculator first. I got 9 times 480. 9 times 4.80. Hit the equal sign and divide it by 6. And I get 7.2. The 7.2 is in dollars, so it's 7.2. It's $7.20. It's the cost of the 9 cans. You could cancel if you want. 6 into 6 goes once. 6 into 480 goes 80, and 8 9s are 72. You see, you get it right. And number 3, 40 grams of peanuts sold for $1.20. How many grams of peanuts can be bought for $1.80? So how many grams? X is the number of grams. So you have grams divided by cost. So grams, number of grams is X for 180. And the number of grams is 40 divided by 120. 120 times x is 180, or 1.80 times 40. Divide by 1.20. Cancels. I get x. And take up your calculator and go 180 times 40. Clear it. 1.80. Oops, that's a decimal. Times 40. Equal sign, and divide it by 1.20. And you get 60. So notice 60. And what is it? It's 60 grams is the answer. Number 4. 5 liters of gas costs $5.75. How many liters can be bought for $13.80? Liters, X is the number of liters, so you have liters over your costs, C. Liters over costs, L over C. So the number of liters is X. Put that out right there. Notice I have X every time, the top left-hand corner. That's consistent. When I cross multiply, everything works out perfect. You don't have to do that. You could have X on the bottom. You could have X on the other side, on the right side. But I prefer to do it this way. I'm being consistent. So the number of liters is X, unknown, over cost. Number of liters is 5 over cost. Writing it out this way, it's hard to go wrong. Cross multiply. 5.75 times X. The reason I have a times as an X like that, because of the decimal in the money. 13.80 times 5. Divide by 5.75. They cancel. Get X. And now, good time to use the calculator. So I got 1380 times 5. Clear it. So I got 1380 times 5. And I get, and then I divide it by 575. And I get a 12. Perfect. So 12 liters is the answer. And let's continue. The last one. Bagels cost $2.40 for a half a dozen. So a half a dozen, 12 in a dozen, so a half times 12 is 6. So that's 6. That's easy. Find the cost to feed 12 people if each person ate 2. So if you got 12 people and you're eating 2 bagels each, you're going to eat 24 bagels. So keep track of that. So find the cost. So the cost is X. So I have cost over the number of bagels. So the cost is X over the number of bagels is 24. The cost is $2.40 over the number of bagels is 6. Cross multiply. 6 times X equals 24 times 2.40. And divide by 6 on each side. They cancel. And I get, and I can do this one out or use the calculator. Let's use the calculator first. So I get 24 times 240. 24 times 240. And I divide it by 6. And I get 9.6. But the 9.6, remember, is cost in dollars. So I need dollars. So it works out to be 9.6. $9.60 is the cost. And that's a review of, notice how I did it. I set up ratios and made the ratios equal, and I worked it out. And I've always used X. You could use T for time, D for distance, is your choice. But 2 equal ratios makes a proportion, and then you solve it by cross multiplying. If you like my video, then you can click on the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell, because there's more videos coming. Write a comment on my video if you wish, and you visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. And there you'll find information about me, my degrees, teaching experience, section on videos, has the teaching strategies they're going to use, tells you about the teaching strategies you're going to use to help you learn your math. And also, the section on content has the units or the topics I'm going to have online, the number of videos on each topic, and the black font has the videos that are already done online, and the red font is what's the videos that are going to be completed in the near future. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.